Hello, everybody. Today I want to do the world's fastest argument vocabulary review with you, but I also want to give a challenge to myself. So I found this random debate topics assigning Wheel of Fortune thing, and I'm going to spin that, and my challenge is I have to see how quickly I can define each of the argument vocabulary words for you, but also come up with a random example in this little thing here. Let's do this. Really? Okay, sure. Why not? Cats are better than dogs. Okay, here we go. Okay, so first of all, you've got your claim. Your claim is the main point that you are trying to argue in your argument. In this case, the wheel assigned me the topic of cats are better than dogs. So, well, that's my claim. Cats are better than dogs. Next, we got yellow. Slow down and give some reasons or evidence. I'm going to try to come up with two things. So, let's see. Reason number one. Cats are cleaner than dogs. Reason number two, later in the argument, cats are less noisy than dogs. That's what I got, okay? Red, stop and analyze your evidence. Explain it, right? So this is my own words. If yellow was me giving some like quotes or statistics about cats being cleaner, now I would have to stop and explain that. So when I say cats are cleaner than dogs, what I mean by that is that, well, they wash themselves for one thing. Have you ever seen a dog lick their whole body to get off dirt or things like that? I haven't. So if your cat was outside, when it comes in, it's going to be licking off its body, getting dirt and stuff off of its fur, whereas the dog is just going to run straight in, covered with mud, get your house all dirty, right? So that's my analyzing of the first point, that cats are cleaner. Second point, that cats are quieter, okay? So now I got to analyze that. When I say cats are quieter, I don't mean that they're completely silent, right? But I do mean that they are like less noisy overall. Dogs bark all the time. Literally, if you just walk by somebody's house and there's a dog in their yard, that dog will start barking. Whereas cats don't care if you're around. They might come up quietly to get your attention or like meow a couple of times, but they're not gonna like yowl their heads off. The only change would be at night. And that's where, you know what, I'm going to move to that now. So the counter argument has two parts. The first part is where you state an opposing viewpoint, in other words, why you could be wrong. And then the blue part is your rebuttal, why you still think you're right. So as far as why I could be wrong, some people might argue with my point that cats are quiet. They might say, well, I have heard some cats yowling at night. And to be fair, that is a good point, right? That's a good point and reason why I could be wrong. So blue, my response or rebuttal. Okay, well, let's see. It is true that cats can be noisy at nighttime. I myself have also heard cats yowl. But if you counted up how many times you have heard a cat do that versus how many times you have heard a dog just bark randomly for any reason, I think you will agree that you've heard a lot more dogs barking than cats. And cats generally only tend to yowl like that if they think they're in danger or if there's another cat around, whereas dogs will bark for like any old reason. Like dogs have barked all the time. Okay. So in conclusion, I didn't put this here, but that's what comes at the end, right? To restate your claim. In conclusion, cats are, quote unquote, a better pet than dogs because they are cleaner and because they make less noise. Okay, wow, I finished that under 3 minutes. I know I forgot to stop the timer for a second there, but that's not so bad, right? 3-minute review of the parts of vocabulary for arguments. We want all of these parts in an essay. If we were looking at an argument essay here, we would see that the claim is referred to in the first paragraph of the essay, and again in the last paragraph. And we're going to see the evidence, or the two or so main reasons that we think we're right, referred to in the first paragraph, and then those are going to start off our body paragraphs. And then we're going to follow up in those middle paragraphs with analysis that describes our evidence and helps to explain in our own words why it's important. And then we're going to follow that up with an opposing argument, why we could be wrong, the rebuttal, where we say where we're still right. To be clear, that is something that we don't have to do in a separate paragraph. We could also throw in little counter arguments throughout the essay. Sometimes you like to bring up multiple reasons you could be wrong throughout, and then wham, bam, hit back right away. And then, of course, in our conclusion, we're going to recap both our claim and then those little points of evidence as kind of just a nice reminder and a strong way of finishing off the argument. That's what you would see in an essay, but it's also something that you can use for a speech. I've even seen people make arguments in cartoons. I've seen a pretty convincing cartoon about refugees. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could use this argument structure for. Thanks for reviewing with me.